Las Vegas once promised you could eat like royalty for pocket change. Prime rib carved tableside, mountains of crab legs, champagne flowing like water, all for less than $5. The city built its entire identity on a simple philosophy: feed people cheap, get them through the casino doors, and everyone wins. But if you've walked the Strip lately, you know those days are buried deeper than Jimmy Hoffa. Buffets have vanished. Prices have exploded to $80 per person, and Vegas isn't feeding families anymore. It's feeding quarterly earnings reports to private equity firms. 70 buffets have disappeared since 2020. 70. That's not evolution, that's extinction. Corporate executives call it optimizing profit margins. The rest of us call it the death of the last democratizing force in American dining. When you kill the $20 all-you-can-eat experience, you're not just closing restaurants, you're locking working families out of Vegas entirely. But we are going to show you the 6 buffets worth your winnings that are still standing, defying the spreadsheet logic that destroyed their competitors. Some doubled down on quality, others discovered that locals' loyalty matters more than tourist traffic. Subscribe and stick around because the Las Vegas buffet has been murdered, and somebody needs to name the killers. The Las Vegas buffet was born in 1946 at the El Rancho Vegas, where a man named Herb McDonald created the Buckaroo Buffet, a midnight chuck wagon spread charging exactly $1. This wasn't generosity. This was strategic warfare disguised as hospitality. McDonald understood something that modern Vegas executives have completely forgotten. You don't make money on food, you make money on the gambler who stays 4 hours longer because they're not hungry. The economics were beautifully simple. Lose $3 per customer on the buffet, make $30 when they hit the blackjack tables afterward. The food was bait, not the business model. Every casino on Fremont Street immediately copied the concept because it worked like clockwork. Buffets became the great equalizer. Construction workers eating next to high rollers, everyone getting the same prime rib for the same laughable price. For decades, Vegas casinos competed on who could offer the most ridiculous value. The Golden Nugget advertised all-you-can-eat for 49 cents in the 1950s. Circus served complete steak dinners for under $2 through the 1970s. These weren't promotions, they were permanent policies. The buffet was sacred, the promise that kept people returning to Vegas when they could gamble anywhere. Strip away that promise, and you're just another city with overpriced hotels and rigged slot machines. The brilliance was in the psychology. Cheap food created loyalty that expensive marketing never could. When a family from Iowa remembered their Vegas vacation, they didn't talk about losing money at the tables. They talked about that incredible buffet where the kids ate like kings for $3 each. That nostalgia brought them back. That memory made Vegas feel like home. Modern Vegas traded that goodwill for immediate profit extraction, and they're genuinely confused why nobody likes them anymore. The 1980s and 90s transformed buffets from loss leaders into destination experiences. Rio's Carnival World Buffet opened in 1993 and changed everything. 12 cooking stations, 70 dishes rotated daily, live-action kitchens where chefs prepared food in front of customers. This wasn't cafeteria service anymore, this was dinner theater. The buffet graduated from necessary evil to legitimate attraction. Bellagio elevated the formula into fine dining territory when they opened in 1998. Their buffet featured items you'd find at actual restaurants, not steam table approximations, but properly prepared dishes using premium ingredients. Other casinos scrambled to keep up, launching increasingly elaborate spreads that would have seemed insane a decade earlier. Caesar's Palace fired the final shot with Bakanal Buffet in 2012, a $17 million renovation that created 9 open show kitchens and over 500 dishes. This wasn't a buffet anymore. This was a culinary theme park. Dim sum chefs, tandoori specialists, French pastry masters all working simultaneously while customers wandered through what felt like a miniature food festival. You weren't getting dinner, you were getting a world tour on one plate. The super buffet era proved Vegas could do premium and volume simultaneously. Prices crept upward, from $12 to $25 to eventually $50 for weekend dinner. But customers didn't revolt because the value equation still worked. Spend $50, eat $80 worth of restaurant-quality food. The math made sense, the experience felt special, and Vegas maintained its reputation as the place where excess was the entire point. Corporate ownership would later discover these buffets as profit targets rather than brand builders, and that's where everything went wrong. March 2020 didn't just pause Vegas buffets, it gave casino executives the excuse they'd been dreaming about for years. Suddenly, they could shut down those money-losing operations while blaming a pandemic instead of their own greed. Never mind that these same buffets had functioned as marketing engines for decades. The spreadsheets said they were unprofitable, and COVID provided cover to kill them permanently. Tom Reeg, CEO of Caesars Entertainment, publicly stated each buffet cost his company $3 million annually in losses. That number requires context these executives deliberately omit. Yes, buffets operate at negative margins when measured in isolation. But those losses drove billions in casino revenue by keeping customers on property longer. Measuring buffets' profitability without accounting for their effect on gambling revenue is like measuring a loss leader's value without considering what it sells. Over 70 Vegas buffets closed between 2020 and 2023. Only 12 survived. The Strip went from buffet capital of America to buffet desert almost overnight. But many of those spaces didn't stay empty. They became food halls, trendy collections of overpriced standalone concepts charging $18 for sandwiches and $15 for ramen bowls. Corporate Vegas replaced community dining with boutique extraction. When buffets closed, they took something irreplaceable with them. The only remaining space in modern Vegas where economic class didn't determine your access to decent food. The survival of 6 buffets proves the concept still works when companies actually want it to work. The other 64 closures prove that when private equity runs hospitality, hospitality loses. The Palms Casino reopened their all-you-can-eat buffet in 2022, making them one of the few properties that actually brought their buffet back post-pandemic. This deserves recognition purely for defiance. While corporate siblings were converting buffet space into food halls, Palms looked at their customer base and realized locals still wanted the traditional experience. Sometimes just showing up is revolutionary. The quality sits comfortably in middle-tier territory, not competing with Bakanal's spectacle, but delivering solid execution on buffet fundamentals. Hot food stays hot, cold food stays cold, and nothing tastes like it's been sitting under heat lamps since breakfast service. The seafood selection won't impress anyone who's been to Wynn, but the carving station serves legitimate prime rib, and the Asian section handles basics competently. Prices hover around $35 to $40 for dinner, which positions them as the budget-friendly option in a market gone completely insane. You're not getting luxury, but you're also not getting scammed. The value equation makes sense for families who want the buffet experience without taking out a second mortgage. This is what Vegas buffets used to be: accessible, reliable, and unpretentious. Palms lands at number 6 because they're not pushing boundaries or setting trends. In an industry that now treats buffets like embarrassing relics, the Palms deserves credit for understanding their customers better than Wall Street analysts. Sometimes just being good enough and affordable enough is the most radical position possible. South Point Casino sits off-strip where tourists rarely venture, and that geographic isolation is exactly what saved their buffet. While Strip properties were shuttering operations and blaming COVID, South Point looked at their customer base, actual Las Vegas residents who visit weekly, and kept serving. No corporate headquarters demanding cuts, no private equity demanding optimization. Just a casino that remembered why buffets exist. The food quality consistently exceeds expectations for the price point. Weekend dinner runs around $30, and you're getting proper preparation rather than volume for volume's sake. The prime rib actually has marbling, the seafood tastes fresh, and the dessert selection puts strip casinos to shame. This isn't cutting-edge cuisine, but it's honest food prepared by people who understand what makes a buffet worth repeating. What sets South Point apart is consistency. They're not chasing trends or redesigning concepts every 2 years. Their local customers keep returning because they know exactly what they're getting. In a market that now treats unpredictability as innovation, South Point's boring reliability feels almost subversive. They rank 5th because they've perfected the forgotten middle ground. Better quality than budget buffets, better value than luxury options, and zero pretension about what they're offering. Vegas used to be full of places like South Point. Now they're the last remnant of an industry that understood serving locals builds more stable revenue than gouging tourists. Bellagio's buffet built its reputation on bringing fine dining sensibilities to all-you-can-eat dining. When they opened in 1998, this was revolutionary, a buffet that actually cared about plating, ingredient quality, and culinary technique. 2 decades later, they're coasting on that reputation while competitors have caught up or surpassed them. The food remains above average, featuring recognizable quality in their seafood selection and legitimate skill in their carving stations. The ambiance still carries that Bellagio elegance, proper lighting, actual table service, none of the cafeteria aesthetic that plagues budget buffets. You're paying for refinement here, and they still deliver enough of it to justify their position. Weekend dinner prices now exceed $70 per person, putting Bellagio squarely in the luxury tier without quite delivering luxury tier innovation. The menu hasn't evolved in years. The cooking stations feel dated compared to Bakanal's open kitchen theatrics. You're getting very good food, but you're not getting an experience that justifies a 40% price increase over South Point. Bellagio ranks 4th because they represent the original vision of elevated buffet dining, even as that vision has started showing its age. They're not bad, they're just no longer exceptional compared to what else exists in Vegas. When you're charging premium prices, maintaining historical reputation isn't enough. You need to keep justifying why customers should choose you over newer, more innovative options. Wicked Spoon rejected the mega buffet playbook entirely, pioneering the small plate buffet concept where individual portions replace communal steam tables. Each dish arrives in individual vessels, ramekins, small plates, tasting portions, eliminating the standard buffet problem where serving spoons contaminate entire trays. This isn't just aesthetic preference, it's genuinely smarter food service. The quality control this format enables is immediately obvious. Food stays fresher because portions turn over quickly. Presentation improves dramatically when chefs plate individual servings instead of dumping food into chafing dishes. The experience feels more restaurant than cafeteria, which justifies the $65 to $75 price point for dinner service. The menu skews adventurous compared to traditional buffets: bone marrow, duck confit, properly spiced ethnic dishes that haven't been dumbed down for tourist palates. Cosmopolitan attracts younger, more food-conscious customers, and Wicked Spoon serves them food that matches their expectations. You're not getting as much variety as Bakanal's 500 dishes, but everything available is executed at a higher baseline quality. Wicked Spoon lands at 3 because they proved buffets could innovate without abandoning their fundamental appeal. The small plate format solves real problems while creating a distinctly modern experience. They sacrifice some of the traditional buffet's abundance, but gain sophistication that makes the meal feel less gluttonous and more curated. Wynn's buffet reopened post-pandemic when competitors were still using COVID as an excuse to stay closed. That alone signals commitment. Steve Wynn understood buffets as brand builders, and the property maintaining his name continues honoring that philosophy. They charge $70 to $80 for weekend dinner, but they're actually delivering food worth those prices instead of trading on legacy reputation. The cooking stations feature legitimate culinary talent preparing food to order. The seafood section serves properly shucked oysters, quality crab legs, and sushi prepared by actual sushi chefs rather than line cooks with knives. The carving station rotates premium cuts, and the international sections execute regional cuisines with genuine technique. This is restaurant-quality food deployed at buffet scale. Service quality exceeds industry standards: attentive staff, rapid plate clearing, drinks refilled without asking. The ambiance matches Wynn's overall luxury positioning without feeling stuffy or pretentious. You're paying premium prices, and the entire experience reinforces that you're getting premium value. During peak hours, service can slow down, but that's physics rather than negligence. There's only so fast humans can work. Wynn ranks second because they understand what luxury buffets should be. Not just quantity and not just quality, but the seamless integration of both. They charge prices that would be criminal at lesser buffets, but they justify every dollar through execution. The dining experience here rivals standalone fine dining restaurants, which makes the buffet format feel like bonus value rather than compromise. When buffets work this well, you remember why Vegas built its empire on them. Bakanal didn't just survive the buffet apocalypse, it thrived by becoming the standard every other Vegas buffet measures itself against. 9 open-show kitchens, over 500 dishes cycling through daily service, chefs from multiple culinary traditions working simultaneously. Caesars spent $17 million on the 2012 renovation, and every dollar shows. The variety genuinely overwhelms first-time visitors. Dim sum prepared by Hong Kong-trained chefs, tandoori chicken from actual tandoor ovens, hand-carved Iberian ham, made-to-order pasta, whole roasted duck, legitimate French pastries, and that covers maybe 10% of available options. You could eat here weekly for 6 months and never have the same meal twice. The diversity isn't gimmick. It's genuine culinary range executed at scale. Quality control operates at levels most restaurants can't match. Food turnover happens so rapidly that nothing sits long enough to degrade. The cooking stations allow for customization. Tell the chef how you want your steak cooked, request extra spice on your curry, ask for modifications that would be impossible with pre-plated service. You're getting personalization at volume, which should be contradictory, but somehow works. The price reflects this ambition: $85 to $100 for weekend dinner depending on season and timing. That's absurd money for a buffet. It's also less than you'd spend at a single Caesars restaurant ordering equivalent quality food. The math only works when you're sampling from multiple show kitchens, trying premium ingredients you'd never order as full entrees, and spending 3 hours exploring a menu that rivals small food festivals. Bakanal ranks first because it's the only Vegas buffet that maintained the original buffet promise while elevating it to modern standards. It's simultaneously the cheapest way to eat premium food in Vegas and the most expensive buffet in the city. That paradox defines everything buffets were supposed to be: democratic excess, where anyone willing to pay the entry price gets the same world-class experience, regardless of their jacket or their comp status. When Vegas killed 70 buffets, they should have studied why Bakanal survived. It succeeded because it never forgot what made buffets valuable in the first place. Vegas built its empire on one promise: everyone deserves a taste of the good life, even if just for a weekend. The buffet embodied that promise, the one place where dishwashers and high rollers stood in the same line, paid the same price, and ate the same prime rib. When corporations killed 70 buffets in 3 years, they didn't just close restaurants, they locked working families out of Vegas entirely. The surviving 6 proved the model still works when companies want it to work. Bakanal thrives by going bigger, Wynn succeeds through refined excellence, and South Point survives by serving locals who actually live in Vegas year-round. Modern Vegas wants you to spend $200 on dinner at a celebrity chef restaurant where portions are tiny and reservations are impossible. The buffet said no to that entire philosophy. It said abundance over scarcity, access over exclusivity, satisfaction over Instagram. Corporate Vegas couldn't stand that message because it didn't maximize short-term extraction. Next time you're in Vegas, skip the $30 grilled cheese at some soulless food hall and head to South Point or Caesars. That's where the real Vegas still lives, where you can eat like you own the place without getting played. Do you agree with this list? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.